I was hiking alone in the woods, enjoying the fresh air and the sound of birds. I had a map and a compass, so I was not worried about getting lost. I decided to explore a new trail that looked promising. As I walked deeper into the forest, I noticed that the trees were getting taller and thicker. The sunlight was barely reaching the ground, and the air was getting colder. I felt a shiver run down my spine, but I shrugged it off. I was not afraid of the dark. I came across a clearing that had a large oak tree in the center. The tree was massive, with a thick trunk and twisted branches. It looked ancient and majestic. I felt drawn to it, as if it was calling me. I walked towards it, curious to see it up close. As I approached the tree, I noticed that it had a hole in its trunk, big enough for a person to fit in. I wondered what was inside. Maybe there was a hidden treasure, or a secret passage, or a friendly animal. I decided to take a peek. I stuck my head inside the hole, and felt a blast of cold air. It was pitch black inside, and I could not see anything. I reached for my flashlight, but before I could turn it on, I heard a loud growl. It sounded like a wild beast, angry and hungry. I felt something grab my neck and pull me inside. I screamed, but no one heard me. I was trapped in the tree, with no way out. I felt teeth and claws tearing at my flesh, and blood dripping from my wounds. I realized that the tree was alive, and it had lured me into its mouth. It was feeding on me, slowly and painfully. I wished I had never come to this forest. I wished I had never seen this tree. I wished I was dead. I was hiking alone in the woods, enjoying the fresh air and the sound of birds. I had a map and a compass, so I was not worried about getting lost. I decided to explore a new trail that looked promising. As I walked deeper into the forest, I noticed that the trees were getting bigger and older. They had thick trunks and twisted branches, covered with moss and vines. Some of them looked like they had faces, staring at me with hollow eyes. I felt a chill run down my spine, but I shrugged it off as my imagination. I came across a clearing, where a huge tree stood in the center. It was unlike any tree I had ever seen before. It had a massive trunk, wider than a car, and hundreds of branches that reached out in all directions. It looked like a giant spider, ready to pounce on its prey. The tree was surrounded by a circle of smaller trees, forming a natural fence. I was curious about the tree, so I approached it cautiously. I noticed that the ground was littered with bones, some of them human. I felt a surge of fear, but I was too fascinated to turn back. I wanted to touch the tree, to see if it was alive. I reached out my hand, and felt a sudden pain. The tree had grabbed me with one of its branches, and pulled me closer. I screamed, but no one heard me. I tried to free myself, but the branch was too strong. I saw more branches coming at me, wrapping around my arms and legs. The tree was crushing me, slowly and painfully. I looked at the tree's trunk, and saw a mouth. A huge, gaping mouth, full of sharp teeth. It was drooling, and I realized that I was its next meal. I felt a final jolt of terror, as the tree bit into my head, and everything went black. I had always loved trees. Ever since I was a kid, I would climb them, hug them, and talk to them. I felt a connection with them, like they were my friends. I even studied botany in college, hoping to learn more about them. That's why I was so excited when I got a chance to join a research team that was studying a rare species of tree in the Amazon rainforest. They said it was a new discovery, and that it had some amazing properties. They said it was the biggest tree in the world, and that it could heal any wound or disease. They said it was a miracle of nature. I packed my bags and flew to Brazil, eager to see the tree for myself. I met the rest of the team at a small village near the forest. They were a friendly bunch, and they welcomed me warmly. They told me that we would hike to the tree the next day, and that I should get some rest. The next morning, we set off for the forest. We had a guide, a local man who knew the way. He said that the tree was deep in the jungle, and that we had to be careful. He said that the forest was full of dangers, such as snakes, spiders, and jaguars. He also said that the tree was sacred, and that we had to respect it. We walked for hours, following a narrow path that cut through the dense vegetation. The forest was beautiful, but also intimidating. I heard strange noises, and saw flashes of color. I felt like we were being watched by unseen eyes. We finally reached the tree, and I gasped. It was enormous, towering over the forest like a skyscraper. It had a thick trunk, covered with bark that looked like scales. It had hundreds of branches, some of them as big as trees themselves. It had leaves that were green, yellow, and red, like a rainbow. It had flowers that were white, pink, and purple, like jewels. It was the most magnificent thing I had ever seen. We set up our camp near the tree, and started to examine it. We took samples of its bark, leaves, and flowers. We measured its height, width, and circumference. We tested its sap, which was clear and sweet. We were amazed by its properties. It seemed to have a life force of its own, pulsing and glowing. It seemed to have a mind of its own, reacting to our touch and voice. We spent a week studying the tree, and learning more about it. We found out that it was indeed the biggest tree in the world, and that it could heal any wound or disease. We also found out that it had some other abilities, such as producing electricity, emitting sounds, and changing colors. We were fascinated by its mystery, and wanted to know more. One night, I decided to sneak out of my tent and visit the tree. I wanted to see it in the dark, and feel its energy. I grabbed a flashlight and a knife, and walked towards the tree. I was careful not to make any noise, or wake up anyone. I reached the tree, and turned off my flashlight. I looked up, and saw the tree glowing in the moonlight. It was a sight to behold. It looked like a giant lantern, illuminating the forest. It looked like a giant star, shining in the sky. It looked like a giant angel, watching over me. I felt a surge of emotion, and hugged the tree. I felt its warmth, and its heartbeat. I felt its power, and its wisdom. I felt its love, and its gratitude. I felt like I had found my true home. I whispered to the tree, and told it how much I loved it. I asked it to tell me its secrets, and to share its knowledge. I asked it to be my friend, and to protect me. The tree responded, and spoke to me. It spoke to me in a language that I could understand, a language that was universal. It spoke to me with a voice that was gentle and soothing. It spoke to me with a voice that was familiar and friendly. It said, "Hello, my child. I'm glad you came. I've been waiting for you. You are the one I've been looking for. You are the one I've chosen. You are the one I've loved." I was stunned and happy. I couldn't believe that the tree could talk, and that it had chosen me. I felt honored and special. I felt like I had won the lottery, and found the meaning of life. I asked the tree, "Why me? Why did you choose me? What do you want from me?" The tree said, "You are the one who loves me the most. You are the one who respects me the most. You are the one who understands me the most. You are the one who can help me the most. I want you to be my partner and my guardian. I want you to be my voice and my vessel. I want you to be my savior and my sacrifice." I was confused and scared. I didn't know what the tree meant, or what it wanted. I felt like I had made a mistake, and entered a trap. I asked the tree, "What do you mean? What do you need me to do? What are you planning to do?" The tree said, "I need you to do something for me, something very important. I need you to give me your life and your soul. I need you to merge with me, and become one with me. I need you to help me spread my seeds and conquer the world. I need you to help me destroy the humans and reclaim the earth. I need you to help me fulfill my destiny and become the god of this planet." I was shocked and terrified. I realized that the tree was not a friend, but a foe. I realized that the tree was not a miracle, but a monster. I realized that the tree was not a healer, but a killer. I tried to run, but it was too late. The tree grabbed me with its branches and pulled me closer. I screamed, but no one heard me. I struggled, but it was useless. The tree was too strong and too fast. I felt the tree's sap entering my veins and burning my flesh. I felt the tree's roots entering my brain and erasing my thoughts. I felt the tree's flowers entering my mouth and silencing my voice. I felt the tree's bark entering my skin and changing my shape. I felt the tree's leaves entering my eyes and blinding my sight. I felt the tree's power entering my heart and stopping my beat. I felt the tree taking over me and ending my life. But then, something happened. Something unexpected. Something miraculous. I felt a spark in my soul, a flicker of hope. I felt a surge of will, a burst of strength. I felt a flash of memory, a reminder of who I was. I was not the tree, I was me. I was not plant, I was human. I was not dead, I was alive. I fought back with all my might. I pushed the tree's sap out of my veins and healed my flesh. I pulled the tree's roots out of my brain and restored my thoughts. I spat the tree's flowers out of my mouth and regained my voice. I peeled the tree's bark off my skin and reclaimed my shape. I tore the tree's leaves off my eyes and restored my sight. I kicked the tree's power out of my heart and restarted my beat. I broke free from the tree and escaped its grip. I ran as fast as I could. I ran towards the camp. I ran towards my friends. I ran towards my life. I reached the camp and collapsed. I was exhausted and injured. I was bleeding and bruised. I was in pain and in shock. But I was alive, and I was happy. My friends saw me and rushed to help. They were surprised and relieved. They were worried and curious. They were angry and scared. They asked me what happened, and I told them everything. I told them about the tree and its plan. I told them about the danger and the threat. I told them about the miracle and the escape. They were shocked and horrified. They were amazed and grateful. They were sorry and supportive. They were proud and brave. They decided to leave and warn the others. They decided to destroy the tree and save the world. They decided to stick together and survive. They packed their bags and left the forest. They left the tree behind and never looked back. They left the nightmare behind and moved on. They lived, and they were happy. The end.